Welcome once again to the platform of Indian Academy for Clinical and Dental Genetics. And today we are with the fascinating topic about 5 facts about salivary DNA. Well, the first question or the fact that first comes to the mind, is there a DNA in saliva at all? Yeah, obviously. The DNA in saliva originates from cells that are shed from the inner linings of our mouth as well as from white blood cells. Well, these DNA containing cells are collected, and then from these cells the DNA is extracted out with various different methods. Number two, a very fascinating question is, how long does DNA last in saliva? Right? Do you have any idea? Well, salivary DNA with a high molecular weight can last as long as 5 years. Yes, you have heard me right. It can last for long periods of time, up to 5 years, that too at room temperature, because DNA is a very, very robust molecule. So I think this fact was quite interesting to know. Let's move on and see the fact 3 and try to understand what percentage of our salivary DNA is human. Well, as you know that in our mouth or in saliva, there are many microorganisms which stays with us, right? So when I am extracting salivary DNA, obviously, along with the human DNA, some component would be the microbial part. So approximately, if you see that from 2 ml of saliva, obviously the saliva which is collected using proper saliva collection device, the vast majority of salivary DNA is human origin. So that's a point to celebrate. But it is seen that approximately 11% of the DNA is bacterial DNA. Well, just by knowing this, you can next decide on what to work upon, and you can choose whether to go with the human DNA from the saliva, or you want to use up the bacterial origin DNA from the saliva. How much DNA can saliva yield? That's a very important fact. Well, if you see, again, when saliva is collected with proper collection device, approximately 2 ml of saliva can give us up to 110 microgram of DNA, which is purified according to the prescribed protocol. And this DNA is quite a high molecular weight. It's a heavy, robust DNA, around 23, more than 23 kilobase pairs of DNA that we can get from approximately 2 ml of saliva. That was interesting, I guess. And coming to the last fact and not the least, so what can salivary DNA tell you? That's fascinating. Salivary DNA can give you a whole lot of information. It can tell you about the risk or likelihood of getting a disease, like debilitating diseases like cancers, hypertension, or any lifestyle disorders that you can think on earth. Salivary DNA can also tell about your origin or your ancestry, from where exactly you came from. It also can give information about any genetic abnormality that might be prevalent in some children or even sometimes before birth. Salivary DNA is also a robust tool for forensic analysis, where you need to identify suspects or for paternity tests or many more applications that way. You can also analyze the different plethora of old microbiomes that are present in the saliva when you segregate specifically the salivary DNA, which is of microbial origin. So that gives you much of information and about oral systemic link. So you can also find information from salivary DNA about other systemic diseases that might be present or prevalent. Well, that was the 5 facts, very fascinating facts about salivary DNA. And thank you so much for being here. And I think with that, I will take a leave today and I'll come back once again to you with something interesting more. So take care and stay safe. Goodbye.